Buddha Zen Wisdom, Aging with Grace and Resilience. Hello everyone, welcome to Buddha Zen Wisdom. We are here to accompany you every day. As we reach the age of 70, there are certain things that even the most devoted children should never do for their elderly parents. If you do, you might regret it deeply later on. In today's world, where living conditions have significantly improved and children are becoming more and more filial, many elderly people are still faced with situations where, despite the well-intentioned actions of their children, they find themselves in unpleasant situations. After the age of 70, the body naturally begins to deteriorate, and the details of one's daily life and living arrangements need more attention and understanding. However, many children often think they are doing what's best for their elderly parents by intervening in their habits, yet they overlook the true needs of the elderly. What might appear to be an act of kindness could sometimes result in the opposite, bringing more suffering to the elderly. What seems like a well-meaning gesture can, in fact, harm them, especially when it comes to these three actions. I hope you can learn from my experience and avoid these mistakes so that you don't end up regretting it later on. The first thing, don't force your elderly parents to live according to your preferences. When children become successful and start making a name for themselves, many wish to bring their parents to the city to give them a better life. The idea is often to relocate their elderly parents from the rural areas to live with them in the city. But many seniors, who have lived for decades in their hometowns, might find it difficult to adapt to the hustle and bustle of city life. I grew up in a rural area. My parents were poor, and they worked tirelessly to support my education. Later, I went on to university and stayed in the city for work. As my living conditions improved, my greatest wish was to bring my parents to the city to live a comfortable life. When my father was still alive, both he and my mother were reluctant to leave their home, citing the fact that they could take better care of each other there, and refused to come to the city with me. I understood that they couldn't bear to leave the familiar land, the old neighbors, and friends, but I felt that the city was a better place with better living conditions and better medical facilities. I thought I could take better care of them in the city. 6 years ago, my father passed away, and my mother, now in her 70s, was left alone. Her health wasn't what it used to be, and I couldn't hesitate anymore. I convinced her to move to the city. But life in the city was not kind to my mother. She couldn't get used to the fast-paced city lifestyle and didn't enjoy living in an apartment. She would often talk about how, in the village, she could visit neighbors freely and chat with the elderly, passing the day without even realizing how fast time went by. But in the city, when we were at work, she would stay home, feeling lonely and isolated. Her only entertainment was watching TV, and the days felt incredibly long and lonely. She missed the fresh air, the soil, and the people in the countryside. She longed for her small garden. I would often find her sitting by the window, staring out, lost in thought. It became clear to me that I had made a mistake. I was trying to impose my preferences onto my mother's life. Everyone has a lifestyle and habits that they've developed over the years, and it's very difficult to change these in a short period of time. I should have respected her wishes. If she was happy in the countryside, I should have supported that, visiting her often, instead of forcing her to live in the city. The second thing, don't take over their finances in the name of care. As people age, they often become more protective of their money. It's not that they are miserly, it's just that, as they age, they feel more secure with their savings close at hand. It provides them with dignity and peace of mind. My mother was like this. No matter where she went, she always carried her jewelry and savings books with her. After moving her to the city, she wrapped these valuables in cloth and hid them around the house. One time, she hid them under the bed in a shoebox, and my wife almost threw it out while cleaning. I was worried that she might lose them, so I took them from her to keep them safe. After that, my mother became anxious and guarded. She was always hesitant to speak, and I could see that she was uncomfortable around me. My wife, noticing this, suggested I return the belongings to her. She's old, and without her money, she feels unsafe, she said. That was when I realized my mistake. By taking her things in the name of care, I had stripped her of control over her own possessions, which was a sign of deep disrespect. So, I bought a small locked cabinet, put her valuables inside, and gave her the key. From then on, my mother seemed much more at ease. She walked a little taller and spoke with more confidence. The third thing, don't sacrifice their dignity in the name of extended life. With advancements in medical treatment, it's possible to extend life even when someone is suffering from a terminal illness. But not all treatments are right for the elderly. Sometimes, medical intervention can cause more harm than good. When my mother was 75, she became seriously ill. My only thought at the time was to help her live longer and to enjoy a happier final chapter of her life. I ignored her wishes and insisted on continuing treatments, despite the pain and suffering they caused her. I thought the suffering was worth it for the chance to extend her life. But I was wrong. I overlooked her dignity and her wishes. My mother didn't want to spend her final days surrounded by machines and medications. She wanted to live with dignity, without pain. By the third round of treatment, my mother was a frail, weak shell of her former self. The side effects of the medicine left her emaciated, and she could no longer eat or drink, living only on nutrient fluids. One day, when I visited her, she grabbed my hand with her frail fingers, and tears streamed down her face. "Son," she said, "I don't want to continue with the treatment. I just want to go home." That was the moment when I truly understood my mistake. My desire to prolong her life had taken away her dignity and freedom. The pain of the treatment was unbearable, and she had been deprived of her agency. From that point on, I decided to respect her wishes. We returned to the countryside where she had spent her life, and she was able to live out her final days in familiar surroundings, surrounded by the peace and quiet that she loved. Conclusion: respect, understanding, and compassion. These three experiences taught me the true meaning of filial piety. Filial piety is not just about making sure our parents eat well, live well, and have good shelter. It's about respecting their choices and feelings and allowing them to live the life they desire. Only then will our intentions be free of regret. In reality, many children, like me, act out of a sense of duty and try to impose their preferences on their elderly parents. They take them away from their homes to live in unfamiliar places, causing them to feel isolated and disconnected. Some children, in the name of care, take control of their parents' finances, leaving them powerless and without security. Others, driven by the desire to extend their parents' lives, force them to endure painful treatments that strip them of their dignity. As we age, we don't ask for much. All we truly want is the heartfelt love and care from our children, and to live our final years with peace and dignity. Let us strive to respect our parents' wishes and create an environment where they can enjoy their later years, surrounded by comfort, love, and respect. In conclusion, retirement isn't just about having a pension. It's about cultivating habits that bring joy, health, and security in your golden years. Whether you're managing your finances, maintaining relationships, or simply taking care of your well-being, small habits can make a big difference in your quality of life.